Ryan, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So you want to go ahead and give the people a quick little background about yourself.
Yeah, as my Twitter and Instagram bio says, I'm a father, husband, designer, inspirational speaker, comedian, aspiring actor, man, a mentor who just happened to be born without arms and legs. I'm 40 years old. I have two kids. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I'm the lead product designer for Rocket Homes. It's part of the Rocket Mortgage and Quicken Loans family of companies. And I've traveled all over the world, spreading positivity and teaching people how to use the power of positive thinking.
Sweet. I love the fact that you don't start off with the fact that you were born with no arms or legs. So you want to go ahead and tell that story about when you were first born, about what the doctors told your parents?
Yeah, so it was. I feel like I've told this story a lot this week. um, that's fine. It's part of my story, right? So, day two, the doctors took me away from my parents and said, before we let you take them home, we want you to know that there's going to be some things you can't do. So they took me in this room, and my parents in this room filled with occupational therapists and other doctors and physical therapists, and they said, your son's not going to be able to drive a car or have a wheelchair. He's not going to be able to go to a regular school. He's not going to be able to have a family. He's not going to be able to do any of those things. And my dad stands up and he says, listen, my son is 2 days old and you're already trying to predict his future. And I have a prediction for you. Ryan is going to do each and every one of those things and more and prove you all wrong. And man, ever since that day, I've been proving them wrong. I'd like to go rub it in their faces, but some of them are probably not alive anymore. So
Yeah. I fucking love that because I've had similar experiences. I mean, not even close to the extent that you've had to overcome, but like I've broken my ankle. They said like it would heal much slower than it did. I've got infections and they said that it wouldn't heal unless I took these antibiotics. And just me knowing all the natural ways to heal this, I kind of enjoy proving doctors wrong. And I think that it can be extremely harmful when they give those type of predictions, especially like when they have no idea like the type of person that you're going to become. Like you said, you were 2 days old and they're already predicting your life is going to be nothing.
yeah.
um, what kind of effect do you think that doctors predictions have on other people, like if they let it get to them?
Honestly, well, I don't think doctors do that as much anymore because there's plenty of people like me that are proving them wrong. And it is important for doctors to say these are things are possible, but for to just blatantly say this is not. I mean, I've had parents reach out to me, and this happened a week or two ago, and someone said, "Hey, talking to my doctor, I'm pregnant. My child's not going to be missing both arms and one leg." And I considered, aborting my child. And then I came across one of your videos and I was like, no, like this, Ryan can do this. My son can do this. And when I heard that, man, I was in tears, and it takes a lot for me to cry. And I was just, man, just to think that my story is one of the reasons, or is the reason that this woman decided not to abort her child. And, it's, and that's the thing, like, I could have easily not been able to do those things, right? If I wasn't who I am, if I didn't have my parents to help push me, I could have easily been not been able to do the things that I'm able to do. But you know, um, man, it's honestly the doubt that I got from them, the doubt that I get from people on a daily basis, is what fuels my fire, man. Because you doubt me, I'm just going to do it 10 times better than you even thought I could if I could do it. So that was a
Yeah.
long way about answering your question, but
No,
hopefully
that's
I
all
did.
right. That is incredible. And I know you have kind of a similar story with a kid who the day before you met him or hung out with him was going to commit suicide.
Yeah, I was like 8 years old, 9 years old, and I just hung out with him. I had no idea about any of that. He was much older than me. Just like a family friend. And we hung out for the day, and he seemed fine to me. And the next day, his parents called my parents and said, "Hey, I'm just gonna call him Zach. Zach was planning on killing himself. He was depressed, being bullied in school, and he said he met Ryan, and his life changed. And you know, I mean, I've seen them like in the past couple of years, and they're like, we still owe you. And I'm like, you don't owe me anything. Like, this is what God put me on this earth to do, is just help people, inspire people, and just, make an impact.
That is incredible. And so I know that like most people would like classify you as disabled, but I disagree, because if you look at the term disabled, it means not able to do, whatever. And there is like literally nothing that you can't do. The list of your accomplishments, the things that you've been able to achieve, is incredible. Is there anything that you is there anything that you found that you haven't been able to accomplish?
Oh man, people ask me that a lot. And honestly, I feel like if there's something I want to do that I haven't done yet, I haven't really wanted to do it bad enough, because, pretty much I want to do it, I'll do anything I want to do. And if there's no way, there's no way I'm going to let anything stop me from, I mean, obviously, besides the obvious things, I'm not going to be a marathon runner, and I'm not
Yeah.
going to be in the NFL, but, besides those obvious things,
Yeah.
if
You
there's
find
something
a
I
way.
want, yeah, from driving to flying. I mean, when I tell people that I flew a plane and I actually landed it, I mean, their jaws are on the floor. And shit, when I think about it too, thinking back, I'm like, shit, I can't believe I did that myself. So
Yeah. So on that note, let's talk a little bit about excuses, because excuses are one of my pet peeves. I absolutely hate when people give bullshit excuses like I don't have time, or, whatever it is. And then to see someone like you, no arms, no legs, doing more than most able-bodied people are able to do. um, you have a phrase, don't be your own speed bump. So you want to talk a little bit about that mindset? Like, did you always have that mindset, or was that something that you had to develop?
I mean, it wasn't like the mindset wasn't there from birth. It's definitely something I've had to develop. Just like you train. I know you train. I mean,
Mhm.
shit, I'm working on those abs myself. But I mean, your mind is something you have to train, just like your body, right? So
Yep.
like, I can tell people don't be your own speed bump. Which, don't be your own speed bumps means the only thing that can stop you or slow you down in life is yourself. I mean, there's no truer fact than that. I mean, people, yes, obviously there's things from the outside that can stop you or slow you down, but if it's something that you want to do yourself, and there's something you can physically do yourself, it's the only thing that's truly stopping you is yourself.
Hmm.
And it's just something that I've worked at my entire life. And I'm if anybody says that saying's bullshit, I'm literally living proof that it's not. So
Yeah. Do you have any like recommendations or like hacks for people like who, if they are the type of people who give excuses for things that they don't want to do you have anything, like, do you have a way for them to start, like, starting to cultivate this mindset?
yeah, I mean, write down your excuse. People, it's a great thing to do. People do a lot of writing, like write down what things they're grateful for. But you got to write down your bullshit too. I mean, like you say, this is tell me. I always tell people, start out, make me a list, send me an email, send me a text, tell me why you don't think you can accomplish that. And when they start writing it, and when they start writing the email or texting me, they're like, okay, you're right. It's bullshit. No excuses. I'm starting tomorrow. Like, because you can tell yourself in your head all day long excuses to make you feel better. I mean, man, can you imagine the amount of people that, I've spoken in rooms of 1,500, 2,000, up to 10,000 people. Can you imagine the people in that room that because they doubted themselves, they're not, going at their full potential? Like, there's people out there, I guarantee there's people out there that have, could have been the person that cured cancer, could have been the person that, man, and it's just self-doubt that stops them. So yeah, number one key is, if you think you have excuses, or you think these excuses are real, send them to somebody. Let somebody else read them and tell you that they're bullshit.
Yeah. You really never know what you're capable of until you do it. And another thing that I love about you is that you always keep things in perspective. So like on the outside looking in, like if somebody didn't know you, like they just knew that you didn't have any arms or legs, the majority of people would probably think that your quality of life is not that good. But you have the mindset of it could always be worse, right? And I love that. Where or who or what do you attribute that to?
So my grandmother, my father's mom, she died when I was like 10 or 11, and she used to tell us that all the time. Like she grew up dirt poor. She had 8 sons and raised them all on her own. And you know, I would talk to her about things, and every time I would bring up something, she'd be like, it could be worse. It could be worse. And I mean, and it's like stuck in my head to this day. Is she's so right? Like this is the reason why I don't complain about my life. Like I could complain, right? I deal with pain all day long, but it could be worse. And because of that saying, and because she put that in my head, and I understand it, I mean, man, it's, if you look at every situation and realize that it could be worse. I mean, it's a different, I always tell people I live life and I see life from a different perspective. And it's not only because I'm 3'6". I mean, I literally see life from a different perspective, but I definitely see life from a different perspective.
Yeah. And what has that mindset allowed you to accomplish? Like when you don't complain about things and you don't have any excuses, you can like take action and actually, accomplish anything. So what are some of the things that mindset specifically has allowed you to achieve?
Oh man, I mean, like I said, I deal with pain. Both of my shoulders are dislocated. My right hip is dislocated, and I mean, if you look at everything I've done, like fitness wise, and I've shoulder shrugged a dude that weighs over 300 pounds, like on my shoulders, shrugging. I don't know if you've seen that video, but like, it's like I don't focus on the things I can't do. I only focus on the things I can do. And I ignore, how I deal with the pain is I ignore it. It's like, yes, might be outside and it's cold, but if you keep thinking about it being cold, you're just going to get colder, right? You just think about, you imagine yourself, you just don't think about it. You imagine yourself on a beach or something and you feel warm and you just don't think about the negative thing. And, and like I said, the main reason why it could be worse, man, because, I see kids that have, less arms than me, less legs than me. I see kids that are going blind. I see children like having cancer. And it kills me, man. It's like my life, I can't complain about my life. I have a great life and I'm going to take advantage of everything I have. And like I said,
Yeah.
I can't complain.
Yeah, it's all about that mindset. And I tell people this all the time. It's like the example of like a bird in the winter will like just sit on a branch and basically freeze to death, and it will not complain once because it's a bird. Like it's just nature, like that happens. And I tell people like when they're going through something like quote unquote negative to try to find the positive in that. Even if you think that there is nothing positive, even just the simple fact that you're going through this challenge, it will make you stronger in the long run because you'll be more resilient to these stressful situations. And you are living proof of that. I could not imagine living my life with both my shoulders dislocated. That, I mean, that's just insane to me. And the fact that you still work out and accomplish all these things is just amazing. But that doesn't mean you never fail, right? So another thing that I love about you is that you say failure is a must instead of the popular phrase failure is not an option, which I also disagree with. So you want to talk a little bit about failure and why you should actually seek out failure?
Oh man, failure is one of my favorite things. You don't learn from the wins. You learn from the losses, right? And people ask me like, oh, doesn't it suck failing? And I'm like, yeah, no, it doesn't suck failing. Failing is what teaches me. Like, I wouldn't be able to do anything that I do right now if I didn't fail at trying to do it. I didn't just, when I started to use the computer, I didn't just instantly become a great designer. It took practice. It took me knocking the mouse off the table 100 times, getting dressed and training, or, driving a car. It wasn't just, I got behind the wheel and I was, luckily I didn't fail at flying. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
Failure was no damn option there. But everything else, it takes failing to figure it out. I always
Yeah.
say fail and figure it out. That's another one of my things that I say, because so many people are scared to fail. That means they're scared to learn. That means they're scared to get better. And that's not the way to look at it.
Yeah. And again, that's just a mindset thing, right? Because you could have two people doing the exact same thing. Both people fail, but one person sees it as a learning opportunity to see what they did wrong and correct it. And the other person sees themselves as a failure, that it's not right for them. They weren't meant for this. So do you have any like recommendations on how you started to cultivate this mindset that failure is actually a good thing?
Oh man, that's a great question and easy answer. Like I said, I wouldn't be able to do anything that I do to this day if it wasn't for failing. So I realized that early. It's fine to fail. I realized at a really young age that failing is fine, because failing is what teaches you how to get better at something. No matter what it is, you're gonna fail. And this is the thing: too many people fail at things and be so bummed about failing that they don't actually take the time to realize how to get better at it, right? So when I fail at things, I figure out what was wrong and figure out how to make it better. So every time I fail, I'm getting better at something.
Boom. And you mentioned that it took you a while to figure out how to use the computer, and now you work as a designer and you started your own website design business. Is that correct?
Yeah. So my company just posted this today, and a lot of people were like, "Shit, I didn't even know that about you." So right out in high school, I started designing websites, and I probably had more websites designed by my junior year than like bigger companies out there, because I'm 40 years old. So when I was in high school, it's like internet was just getting started.
Hmm.
And so I had a really massive portfolio, and I would send out my portfolio to these companies, and then I would, talk to them on the phone, and I was the best candidate for the job. And then I would get there, and like I tell people, I might as well have shown up without a head, bro, because it was just like they were in shock that I had no arms and legs. And I went from the best candidate on the phone to, sorry, this is not going to work out.
Yeah.
So I was sick of hearing no from people, and I'm like, shit, I can design better work than this whole company. So I started my own company, and I did I probably did 400 website and branding projects, and I ended up selling to one of those companies that turned me down. And my son and daughter were getting older, and I was working all the time, and I was like, man, I gotta figure something out where I can spend more time with them. And so I took a job with the U.S. Army, and then I was there for 5 years, and then I've been at Quicken Loans for almost 7 now.
That is amazing. I love that. They turn you down and then you build a company and then you sell it to them. That's
Yeah,
like just a big fuck you. Like
yeah, yeah.
you turned down the wrong guy. Um, Man, that is incredible. That story alone just proves the amount of confidence you have in yourself. And I know a lot of people who see you think that, oh, he might have like accomplished all these things, but there's no way that he's ever had a girlfriend. But obviously that is not the case. You have kids, you're married now, and talk a little bit about the confidence that goes into that.
And meeting girls, women, that was never, ever, ever a problem. Like my mom said at a young age, or when I was younger, she's like, I never had to worry about you, like not being able to get a girlfriend. She said, I have a brother, and she's like, you definitely brought home more girls and
Oh,
talked to more
damn.
girls than. And so yeah, there's just never an issue. And I'm extremely confident, and that's the key. You can't be born like me and not be confident. Like if you're not confident in yourself and you're not positive, then you're not going to be able to do those things. And so just the confidence alone led me to be able to meet a lot of girls, and I have so many friends too. I mean, it's nobody wants to be friends or to be dating somebody that doesn't have confidence in themselves, and this is not something that you just get overnight. This is just something that grew. And like I said, at a young age, people used to misunderstand my confidence for cockiness, and that was unfortunate at times, but it's just something I had to be. I had to be extremely confident when doctors are telling me no, when teachers are telling me I'm not going to be able to go to this school, and I had to be confident enough to tell them, yes, I can do this. I know I can do this. And funny story. So in Michigan, we're like right in Detroit, we're just a tunnel ride over from Windsor in Canada. And you only have to be 19 to drink in Canada. So when I was 19 years old, we'd go over there all the time. And I was driving. That's when I started driving. So I wasn't drinking. And then a couple of my friends were like, we're at the bar, and my buddy comes up to me. He's like, man, I figured it out. He's like, you get girls because of your wheelchair, and girls feel sorry for you. And so I had a few choice words that I won't bring up, but I was like, okay, bro, if you think that's it, I'll get out of my chair and just sit up here, and you take my wheelchair around, and you just, get all the girls with the wheelchair, the sympathy. And so 4 or 5 hours go by, and he comes back at the end of the night, and he's like, all right, man, I get it. I was wrong. And I was like, yeah, I know you were wrong. And then I was like, it's confidence. It's not the wheelchair. It's not letting people feel sorry for you. It's actually the opposite. You don't want people to feel sorry for you. And I said, so now help me get back in my wheelchair. But before you do that, can you reach in my pocket and grab these 4 or 5 phone numbers that I got while I was sitting up here? Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. And confidence carries over to other aspects of your life too. Like it's not just dating, right? Like you have to be confident in business. You want to,
Absolutely.
I mean, we already talked a little bit about your confidence, and I mean, that's kind of why you started your company, because you were confident in your abilities. You want to explain what like your definition between confidence and cockiness is, because there's kind of a fine line there. And as you said, when you were younger, people misconstrued that confidence for cockiness. So what do you think the differences are between those?
I think the difference between cockiness and confidence is cockiness, you think you can do things and you put on this act, and confidence is you can do it.
Boom. I love that. Okay, so switching gears a little bit, I know that you've read How to Win Friends and Influence People, and that book has been life-changing for me. I've read it multiple times. I review it, the principles in there every morning now. So how has that book impacted your life in business, relationships, whatever it is?
So first of all, I don't know if you know this, but that's only one of 3 books I've ever read in my life. And people are like really shocked to hear that. Everybody's like, oh, I want to know the books you're reading, Ryan. And, and the reason is books, when I was younger, they didn't have Kindles and iPads and all that, or books on tape. And if they had books on tape, there wasn't any really good books on tape.
Yeah.
And so I had trouble holding the book and turning the pages. So in school, I kind of just did the Cliff's Notes versions of every assignment. So I mean, that book has been around for 100 years, and it's
Almost,
and it's still the like tops. I mean, so I read that book because my dad went to a bunch of Dale Carnegie classes, and I was like, man, this sounds interesting. Like how to win friends and influence people. That taught me how to do sales. That taught me how to be confident in myself. And it sounds weird, like influencing people, like you're like people, when I tell people the title, sometimes they're like, well, that's kind of creepy. Like, no, I'm like, no, it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like sales. You want to make them feel like they need the product. They feel like they need you in their life. And it's just, man, I recommend that book to everybody.
Yeah. Cause I mean, life, not to mention business, is all about cultivating like strong connections and relationships with other people. And that book, even though the title can sound kind of like mischievous, or like it's like you're trying to what's the word for it? Like take control of people, basically get them to do what you want. Like you're right. It's not like that, but um, yeah, that book has been foundational for me. Um, you have met two of the most impactful Tonys in the world, Tony Hawk and Tony Robbins. I just saw that video, the Instagram reels you posted with Tony Hawk. How did that come about?
So I haven't met him in person yet, but we're definitely planning. His wife used to live in Detroit, and he comes back he comes here with his wife like 3 or 4 times a year. And I don't know, man. I posted something about my skateboard. I don't know if you've ever seen my Bape skateboard.
Hmm.
And Tony started following me the next day, and I was like, "Wait, what?" Like Tony Hawk's
Damn.
like I used to pretend I was Tony Hawk when I was a kid, like laying on a skateboard and going down my street. And
Yeah.
now I love Tony, and he started following me, and I'd send him a message once in a while, and he'd respond right back. And he's so cool. And so I asked him, I was like, "Hey, I got this idea for a video. Can I send you something, and would you do it?" And so I sent him like a little script, and I need him to be on the phone, and shit. So sure enough, a couple days later, he sent it back to me, and I put together the video, and I'm getting a lot of cool reactions out of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that
Yeah.
was one of my favorite games growing up. The Tony Hawk, what was it? Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, I think it was.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's like that's would be like in the video game Hall of Fame if there is one.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then Tony Robbins. Tell me about this story.
So Tony Robbins and I have a mutual friend. I don't know if you heard. Where do you live?
California,
Okay.
SoCal.
I'll be there next week, by the way.
Oh, sick.
I'm gonna be in Los Angeles next week.
All right.
So my wife and I and the family were in San Diego, and my friend owns a melon hat company. And I don't know if you heard of Melon, but if not, you gotta check them out. And so we were having lunch with Brian, the CEO or president of Melon, and he says, "Hey," he's like, "I need to link you up with Tony. Do you know Tony Robbins?" I was like, "Yeah, I know Tony Robbins. Everybody knows Tony Robbins." He's like, "No, but do you know him?" I was like, "Of course I don't know Tony Robbins. Like, who knows Tony Robbins?" He's like, "I know Tony Robbins." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay." And he's like, "Bro, he literally sent an email to Tony's assistant right then and there, and made the introduction. And I don't know, it was like 2 weeks later, maybe not even 2 weeks later, I got an email from Tony's team saying, "Hey, Tony wants you to come to UPW in Florida as his guest, and we'll take care of it." And so I went, and I think it was day one. I was sitting in I forgot what they call it, CSI, CIS section. It's the invite, Tony's friends and invited guests. I was in that section, and Tony kept pointing to me, and then it was time to firewalk. Have you been to Tony? You've been to a Tony event, right?
I haven't. No, I've
Okay.
seen. Yeah.
Have you ever walked across fire?
I have not.
Man, you have to do it. So, but you have to have someone like Tony firing you up. Okay, so anyways, does this whole talk for like 40 minutes, explaining to people how important it is to concentrate, how important it is to think positive and do the incantations. And so we're about to go out. So he's like, "Okay, we're gonna go outside." Everybody goes through, and all of a sudden, this giant man that I've never met before, it's Tony Robbins, comes up to me, and he's like, "So how are we gonna do this, brother?" It sounds more like Hulk Hogan, but
Yeah.
anyways, his voice is raspy.
Yeah.
And I was like, "How are we gonna do what?" He's like, "How are we gonna walk across the fire?" And I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I said to him, I said, "Tony, I walk across fire every day. I'm gonna walk across this fucking fire." And he says, "All right, let's fucking go." And so we go outside, and I see this flaming hot coals and fire shooting up out of the coals. And I was thinking to myself, "What the fuck?" Sorry.
No, you can cuss. You can cuss.
Yeah. Like, what was I thinking? And he comes up to me, and he's like, "All right." He's like, "Here's my trainer and somebody else, whatever you need." He's like, "We got you. We'll figure it out." I didn't even have time to like even think, right? So I just instantly said, "Okay, you hold my left arm, you hold my right arm, and you'll just be like my walker, and I'll just walk across the coals." And so they're like, oh, perfect. And so a couple of minutes go by and Tony's like, all right, you're up. And I get down on this, it's called cool moss. It's just grass that's super wet. And you're on the cool moss and you're supposed to chant cool moss, cool moss, cool moss as you go across it.
Hmm.
And that's all I'm thinking to myself is cool moss, cool moss. And also, what the hell am I doing? And so it's like 1, 2, 3, go. And then Tony's like, wait. And he bends down and he says something to me. And to this day, I have no idea what he said to me. But, you know,
All the adrenaline.
Yeah, all the adrenaline. And so he said, go. And man, I can't walk, but I literally walked across fire. And that was like a moment in my life that I'll never forget.
Wow.
And my son, he was 16 at the time, is on the other side. And he was just, I mean, it was just like a moment that, like I said, I'll never forget it, man. It was amazing.
Yeah. Is
And
that on?
so unfortunately, it's so dark that you couldn't, like, we got video, but you can't see anything at all.
Okay.
So you see like coals and you see like a silhouette of me, but you can't, man. They don't like doing it when it's bright outside, because you can, like, if you turn your head or get distracted or look up or, you know, or look down or whatever, that's why they don't want flash photography or anything. If anything like throws you off, you're going to like come out of it and burn yourself. And, you know, there was people there that definitely got some blisters, but yeah, man, it was an amazing moment in my life.
Yeah, that is an incredible story. So that's weird. It sounds like it's a huge mindset thing. Like for the people who burn their feet and for the people who don't, like, is that just a difference of mindset? Is that why you're doing the chant and like staying focused?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. It's getting yourself. And that's why he talked about just the mindset alone for at least 45 minutes. And in my head, I'm thinking, all right, man, like move on, you know? But then afterwards, I'm like, oh shit. Like I couldn't even imagine the amount of people that probably would have burnt themselves if he didn't get them in that place. So.
Damn. Yeah, that's crazy. And yeah, Tony is just a giant of a man, both physically and just like he gives off this presence. Just, yeah, huge dude. Yeah, that's amazing. You got to meet him. So what's next? What are you doing in LA?
So I don't know if you know, but a movie I was in came out. It's called Adam.
Yep.
Starring Aaron Paul. Unfortunately, I don't have a line in it. I had a line. They paid me for a line.
It got cut.
It got cut. But like, I'm in the movie for like, you know, at least 30 seconds, couple minutes, with Lena Olin. She used to be the star of Alias, and Aaron Paul. Everybody knows who Aaron Paul is. And so I've just been wanting to get out to Southern California. Besides Detroit, Southern California is my favorite place on earth. The weather's there perfect for me. It's, you know, when it gets cold here, it's hurting my bones. And so I just wanted to get out there. And so I'm going to meet up with the director of that movie and also the producer. And man, I have a bunch of friends that live out there. Just want to relax and have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. SoCal's awesome.
I heard it's smoky out there. So hopefully.
Well, yeah, not right now. It was the past week. But it's all cleared up now. Blue skies, amazing weather. So yeah, you're in for a treat. So hopefully it stays this way. Awesome. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. I know you're a busy man. Well, actually, first, you said you're starting to get into comedy. Is that right?
Yeah. So like that whole Tony Hawk video, that's I've been, you know, I'm a funny person. Like besides being positive, like without being humorous, without humor in my life,
yeah. Again,
I wouldn't be who I am today, man. If I can't joke about some of the things that I deal with or joke about things that have, you know, made me who I am. So man, I've always been into making people laugh. And so I've been making some videos and yeah, once this COVID thing's done, I'm going to start doing like a little mini stand-up tour and no pun intended.
That's awesome.
Also I'm writing a children's book and man, I want to travel. I want to get out and do more traveling when COVID breaks. And I want to be able to help and mentor as many kids that I can, because there's kids that are living with a similar disability to me. And there's a couple in Michigan that I mentor. And I want to be there. Like, I want to give them the cheat code, man. Like, 40 years, I've learned a lot of stuff about living like this. And I got some tips and tricks that'll help them, get through stuff faster.
Mhm.
So that's another thing I'm working on right now.
Yeah, that is so important. The sense of humor. Like if you can laugh at yourself, nobody can bully you. Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
it's just like you make fun of yourself, and like what the fuck's anybody else gonna say?
yeah, right, yeah,
So I think that is so important because, especially in this day and age with like social media and all the kids like trying to emulate these people that they see, like with, have you seen The Social Dilemma
I
on
haven't watched
Netflix?
it yet. No, yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, so I feel like what you're doing is so important for that because in the, I don't know what it is, like a documentary, they talk about how these young kids are seeing these people on Instagram or whatever it is, and they think that they have to be like these people who, like on Instagram, you can make yourself look like anything. You can do
Right, yeah,
Photoshop, like all this makeup, all these like Botox injections, and um, it's not like you don't have to do that. Like just be yourself. And the fact that you are who you are, and now you're going to be doing stand-up comedy and making your own children's book, that is so impactful. And so I love that. um
yeah. Thanks, man.
if you could be granted one wish, what would that be?
Man, that's tough. Probably for, probably for, um, I don't know, one wish, man. I feel like if I say anything for myself, I'm just a jerk because I didn't like cure world hunger or some shit. Actually,
Yeah,
honestly, I always say this. People always ask me ever since I was a kid, like if I could get one wish, it'd be for 10 wishes, and
yeah,
then or unlimited wishes. But I don't know. Honestly, I have everything I want. Like people always expect that answer to be for arms and legs,
yeah,
and I'd be a liar if I said that because if it wasn't for the things that God didn't give me, I wouldn't be who I am today. It's the things that He didn't give me. It's the things that I don't have that make me who I am. Just like failing, man. It's like the things that I miss on. It's the things that I miss on that make me learn. How learn things. So I didn't answer your question, but I don't know.
no, that's all right.
Probably for boatloads of money. So like when my van's that's not working right now, I don't have to raise 100 grand or come up with 100 grand for a new van. So, but I mean, I wouldn't be doing stupid shit with the money. I'd be,
Yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah, that's amazing. And I think we will end it there. So Ryan, you want to tell people where they can find you, stay up to date with what you're doing?
Yeah, easy. Lookmomnohands.com or Instagram. Lookmomnohands. Also YouTube. Lookmomnohands.
Love that name.
Yeah,
That's
thanks, man.
awesome. All right, Ryan. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And yeah, any last words you want to leave the audience with?
Oh, just remember, man, the only thing that's going to stop you or slow you down in life is yourself. Don't be your own speed bump.
Boom. Love it. And where's our